economist, and I live in London with my wife, Jessica, and our 4-year-old son, Cedric. I have had MND for 4 years and was diagnosed pathetically just after our son's first birthday. Since the week commencing the 9th of March, my wife, son and I have clothed ourselves after the outside world in the physical sense. I continue to work from home while Jessica homeschools Cedric and cares for me, having been furloughed by her employer. Crucially, our closing ourselves off has involved suspending support from paid carers on whom I usually rely on for almost 12 hours of support on weekdays. While I cannot lie that receiving the shower this morning from my wife was an eminently more pleasant experience to that had been a large Bavarian man the past 2 months since this account was born by my wife. Sorry you have lost Cedric, and just because I would not get through this serious topic matter without laughing with them in frame. Emotional lability is a symptom of MND. Households throughout our country with an extremely vulnerable household member have seen parents, partners, and children, among others, take on more and more to limit the risks of their loved ones catching the virus. As we, as a society, attempt to resume some semblance of normal life, it is vital that government remembers to protect the vulnerable, not only through advice to continue to stay at home, but complementary policies to enable households to protect their vulnerable members. In the area of labor market policy, as the furlough scheme is unwound, its continuation for households with a vulnerable member would achieve the twin objectives of reducing the risk of the vulnerable member catching the virus and keeping other members in touch with the labor market. In the area of social care, we have just caught our collective breath at the news of the virus ripping through care homes in the residential care sector. But what of the domiciliary care sector? I don't doubt many people have died due to their reliance on carers who have had to travel to reach their clients through foreign environments, which is why my own family are making such sacrifices. To address this general for virus transmission, you need daily testing for carers and sick pay so carers are not incentivized to continue to work with symptoms of the virus. And in the area of education policy, while the role of children in transmission is contested, government could signal to parents that if they choose for their children not to return to school for longer, affected children would retain their school places and be supported. The theme of these policy ideas is to protect the vulnerable by providing options for their household members as to when they re-enter society, consistent with the libertarian instinct of our government. Households can retain responsibility for making trade-offs between their health, economic and social priorities, albeit faced with somewhat less difficult choices if supported by government. By providing breathing room to households, government also benefits from their vast supply of unpaid care, which would not be available otherwise. The profile of a vulnerable household is not necessarily an elderly couple, but has great variety that we must, and with a little thought, can easily take into account. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jessica, Shaan's wife. As Shaan said, he's had MND now for 4 years, so he can barely move or hold his head up. He can't speak. He can only eat pureed foods, but he continues to work full-time as an economist, and up until the crisis hit, he was commuting into London daily by private ambulance to carry on his work. I couldn't be prouder of his relentless positivity and determination to keep using his incredible brain. I think of him as my Stephen Hawking. Shaan has applied his usual positivity to the pandemic crisis and embraced Zoom socialising. So he does Zoom poker nights, Zoom pub nights, and the move to remote working has actually suited him down to the ground, as he can participate in online meetings through his eye gaze technology. The crisis has also brought us closer together as a family, given us precious time together in many ways, and I just wanted to share with you a few photos of what lockdown has looked like for us. You can see Cedric splashing his daddy's toes in a paddling pool and snuggling up on his daddy's lap to watch Lewis Hamilton racing round and snuggling with daddy in bed. As you can see, vulnerable doesn't always look like what you might expect. But behind these positive pictures, the crisis has pushed us very close to breaking point. Shaan's medical team told us bluntly at the start of the crisis that Shaan wouldn't stand a chance against COVID-19, and they advised us to take our son out of school in early March. So since then, our energetic little boy hasn't left our front gate. At the start of the crisis, the care agency were unable to provide any PPE at all, so we rapidly made the decision that we would have to manage without them. The furlough scheme has been a lifeline for us. It's enabled me to stay at home and take care of Shaan and Cedric. But Shaan has suffered enormously without his professional carers. Without his normal routine, he is choking and coughing on phlegm a lot of the time, frequently yelping in distress, desperately trying to communicate his needs. And Cedric, who's only 4, starts copying him and is confused and frightened and increasingly angry with everything. I am really struggling with providing all Shaan's care, as well as looking after our 4-year-old. I'm a strong person and we've been through a lot in recent years, but this is really bringing me to my knees. All the lifting, all the communication challenges, and all the sleep deprivation, because Shaan needs help throughout the night as well. I've barely cried across the 4 years since Shaan was diagnosed with MND, but now I'm at the point where I'm breaking down in tears every few hours of the day. I can't do Shaan's physio routine. I've got carpal tunnel in my wrists, and the hoisting and lifting him all day means that there's just simply not time to shower him every day, and I'm only able to shower him once a week. With quite a greasy, oily complexion, he's really suffering. For myself, not being quite so oily, I am only managing to shower every 2 to 3 weeks. I've literally got no time to look after my own health or sanity at all. We desperately need to be able to bring back professional carers, but there is no way that we will do that until it's safe. There still isn't access to regular, very frequent, rapid and reliable testing for carers. Added to that, carers are only paid when they work, so they face very difficult choices. And it would really help as well if they were able to access a company car or a bicycle or something like that, so that they weren't using public transport all day. Our whole family is isolating because it's hard to see how we could follow the shielding advice to keep our distance from Shaan within the home. We live in a 2-bedroom place. One of the rooms has got quite a serious damp and mould problem, so we all sleep in one room. We've got one small bathroom, and in any case Shaan can't move or speak, so how could we possibly keep our distance from him within the home? At the start of the crisis, it felt like the vulnerable were going to be tucked away and forgotten about indefinitely. It got easier for us as everybody went into lockdown, but now it feels like we're increasingly invisible again. But the reality is that families like ours can't just be tucked away and airbrushed out of the pandemic modelling. It's not that simple. Conditions like MND can strike people out of the blue at any age, and many vulnerable people are working age adults and live with young children. As we reopen society, we need to recognise that vulnerability takes many shapes and forms. Until we do, our little boy will be going round and round the flower bed in our garden as we wait this out.
Yeah!